Lots of folks are curious about why there's no Sinister 3 movie. The first one, from Blumhouse Productions in 2012, did really well and even got a sequel. But let's chat about what's in store for the future of Sinister 3. Director Scott Derrickson's 2012 supernatural horror film Sinister and its 2015 sequel have sparked interest in a potential Sinister 3. Despite the success of the first film and the release of Sinister 2 in 2015, it did not receive the expected attention, unlike other Blumhouse franchises like The Conjuring and Paranormal Activity. However, the IP found a modest following through streaming in the years following its release. Despite the promising premise of the two films, 5 years have passed and there is still no announcement of a third Sinister installment. In Sinister, true crime author Ellison Oswalt, played by Ethan Hawke, moves into a new home with his family. Upon discovering a box of Super 8mm film reels labeled Home Movies, he uncovers a disturbing series of child-orchestrated murders linked to an ancient boogeyman named Bughuul. Bughuul uses supernatural powers to manipulate children into killing their families, capturing it on film. Although Bughuul's plans are thwarted in Sinister 2, the possibility of his return remains, leaving room for a Sinister 3 if it ever materializes. Now let's delve into why Sinister 3 never happened. Despite fans' anticipation for Bughuul's return, there has been no news about a Sinister 3 release date or the appearance of the Sinister children on screen. In 2018, Jason Blum hinted at a potential crossover with Insidious, but the idea was put on hold, and the standalone film's future in the Sinister universe remains uncertain. While the initial Sinister film was a success, its sequel fell short of expectations, relying too heavily on jump scares and shock value. Critics, comparing it to Blumhouse's other successful releases, were unimpressed. Due to the sequel's lackluster performance, a follow-up film was not on the cards. Despite the absence of Sinister 3, Bughuul's eerie presence may not be entirely finished with the film world, hinting at a possible reappearance in the future. For now, Sinister continues to captivate audiences as an intensely horrifying and disturbing supernatural film. A significant factor contributing to the absence of Sinister 3 is director Scott Derrickson's career trajectory. While Sinister was not Derrick's first directorial venture, it played a pivotal role in elevating his career. Prior to Sinister, he had worked on projects like a Hellraiser sequel, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and The Day the Earth Stood Still. Sinister's success was notable, but Derrickson was not involved in the sequel, which turned out to be a disappointment. By 2016, Derrickson had ventured into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Doctor Strange. Although he later left the MCU due to creative differences, it showcased his commitment to preserving his artistic vision over financial gains. Following this, Derrickson directed The Black Phone, a horror adaptation of Joe Hill's work, reuniting him with Sinister star Ethan Hawke. Currently, he is involved in creating a romantic action film titled The Gorge for Apple TV+, further indicating his focus on diverse and distinctive projects. Given his current endeavors, the likelihood of Derrickson returning to the Sinister franchise seems slim. Despite his career's evolution, Derrickson has expressed a somewhat positive stance on the potential for Sinister 3. In 2023, when questioned about a return to the franchise, Derrickson offered a measured response. Possibly, it's a really interesting world. It's really unfortunate that Sinister 2 was a misfire, but I do think there's a lot of things that are special about it, and I certainly think it merits more exploration if we can do it in a better way. The use of possibly indicates a lack of a firm decision, suggesting an open consideration of Sinister's future. Derrickson's acknowledgement of Sinister 2 as a misfire reflects an awareness of its shortcomings, aligning with the criticisms it received, 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. His honesty may assure fans that any project will aim to recapture the essence that made the original film compelling. The mention of more exploration hints at Derrickson's belief in untold stories within the Sinister universe, potentially paving the way for Sinister 3. If Sinister 3 were to be made, it might pick up the story after the second film, delving into the fates of characters like Deputy So-and-so, Courtney, and Dylan, despite Sinister 2's mixed reception. Alternatively, the movie could take a standalone approach, acknowledging the second installment while crafting its unique narrative. A potential new Sinister film could provide a deeper exploration of the demonic force of Bughuul, offering more insight into its history preceding the existing movie series. Expanding on the entity's discovery in the first film, a new installment could follow a group trying to thwart Bughuul from claiming more children's souls. If successful, this could serve as a satisfying conclusion to the franchise. While an unlikely scenario, the previously considered Sinister and Insidious crossover might resurface, connecting the two franchises. However, with the conclusive ending of Insidious: The Red Door, tying it to the Sinister franchise seems improbable. If Sinister were to return, it would likely focus on continuing the original story and expanding its world in a compelling manner. While Sinister 2 didn't match the success of its predecessor, the horror sequel's unsettling ending left a lasting impact. Sinister starred Ethan Hawke as a true crime author who unwittingly moved his family into a house linked to gruesome murders. The movie introduced Bughuul, a memorable demonic entity inhabiting physical media. The brutal twist ending of Sinister shocked viewers as the protagonist's young daughter murdered the entire family off-screen. Despite the challenging act to follow, director Clare Foley took on the task with 2015's Sinister 2. The sequel, although underperforming with audiences and critics, introduced a fresh angle to the franchise. It followed a family escaping an abusive father, squatting in a house where Bughuul had committed previous murders, while ex-deputy so-and-so attempted to protect them from the supernatural threat. In Sinister 2's ending, Zach kills his father Clint, and ex-deputy so-and-so destroys the cursed camera that gave Bughuul power over the brothers Zach and Dylan. Bughuul subsequently kills Zach for failing to murder his family, seemingly disintegrating the boy. However, the movie's final scenes introduce a twist with the cursed ham radio, previously mentioned in Sinister 2. This radio, among ex-deputy so-and-so's belongings, signifies that Bughuul wasn't permanently defeated, challenging the belief that destroying the cursed camera would end the threat. Despite uncertainties about Bughuul's powers, the ending implies that the demon's influence persists, leaving ex-deputy so-and-so and his companions in a precarious situation. In Sinister 2's ending, Zach dissolves into a grainy blur after failing to kill his brother and mother under Bughuul's influence. While the extent of Bughuul's powers is not entirely clear, it appears he can harm possessed children but may not directly affect other individuals. Bughuul relies on children to carry out his murders, taking advantage of their vulnerability. As Sinister 3 never materialized, viewers were left without a definitive understanding of the demon's limitations. The opening scene of Sinister 2 reveals that Dylan's apparent nightmare about murdering his family was in fact a premonition of Zach's attempt to kill them. Dylan, initially thinking he held the matches in the dream, discovers he was one of the victims, with Zach orchestrating the gruesome act. This hints at Dylan possessing some level of foresight, aligning with the fan theory that the Black Phone and Sinister exist in the same universe. Ex-deputy so-and-so's relationship with Courtney is explored in Sinister 2. He initially warns Courtney about the house's dark history, but understands her need to stay there to protect her sons from their abusive father Clint. Throughout the film, ex-deputy so-and-so protects Courtney and her sons from both Bughuul and Clint. The ending sees Clint meet a fiery end, and Zach is disintegrated by Bughuul. In the aftermath, ex-deputy so-and-so and Courtney, both in need of support after the traumatic events, end up together. Their chemistry, evident earlier in the film, contributes to their decision to leave town with Dylan. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.